Please welcome back X-Play's Adam Sessler, everybody. But while he's here, your Valentine's Day, Adam.
Hells no.
Okay.
All right.
Cool. Cool. Bioshock 2, everybody. Let's get into it. The first Bioshock, I mean, brought us an amazing, really visceral underworld. It was Underground City known as Rapture. You're looking at me like...
No. I'm in complete agreement with you.
Oh, good. Yeah, because it did. Well, what's going on in this game? Because I've heard complaints, first of all, that it doesn't give you that same immersion right off the bat, that it sort of takes for granted that you already know Rapture and already love it.
I think the reason why people are hearing that as complaints is that the first Bioshock was just kind of a watershed moment for sort of modern games. It was such a good game. We said it was the best game in 2007. There's no way it can match that experience of going there for the first time, that sense of mystery.
A lot of gamers were straight up angry that anybody would dare to even attempt a sequel at the game.
And I would say, if I have to tip my hat to the team that made the game. I mean, they had a real tough road to hoe, and they actually did a very, very solid game. Yes, it doesn't match that sense of wonder of the first one, but there's a really, really good game under the hood.
Well, they put us, 10 years after the first game, back in Rapture. This time we are playing the role of a Big Daddy?
You're a prototype Big Daddy, so you actually kind of have a history that goes before the fall of Rapture, but almost all the events of the game happen with you trying to find your special little sister Eleanor, and there's a sort of a story attached to that. But really, you're a Big Daddy and you have a big drill hand.
Well, there we go. Does the combat system and the new plasmid system, does that make you feel like you're playing a Big Daddy? Or?
I've never really felt like I was playing a Big Daddy. I never felt I had that much strength. I felt pretty vulnerable as I did in the first game. But
emotionally, as you were playing, or are you talking about?
Well, I always feel emotionally vulnerable. I don't need a game to do that. Really, that's how I escape my sense of emotional vulnerability. No, the combat's a lot better in this one because you can dual wield. So you can have a gun in one hand and active plasmas in the other.
Nice.
And the first game always had this promise that if you're really dynamic and you use different plasmas and you change all these bots over, you could do this cool combat. I never could do that. In this one, I've actually had some combat scenarios where I feel very proud and accomplished when I'm done with it, which I couldn't have in the first one, probably because I was too scared.
And what about the hacking system uses this sort of new QuickTime game, which apparently doesn't bog down the action as much?
No, because you have to, once you go into the hacking, you can still be shot and attacked. So you're kind of
the world doesn't hold. There's, excuse me, monsters, I'm trying to pick the combo
I'm looking to my advantage over here.
Yeah.
No, it is a little bit tough. I would assume, I haven't tried this out, if you have a CRT monitor, you're in some real trouble because it's kind of happening right there at the bottom of your screen.
Okay.
But, that's what happens.
Well, they're used to tiny text issues and all those issues now anyway, so it's fine. And now Bioshock has multiplayer, which is something that nobody... I mean, there weren't cries from the first game of like, why can't I play with my buddies? It was such a solid single player.
And you know what? This is probably the one reason why everyone was so skeptical about the game. That sounded like kind of like, oh well,
Hey, look what we'll also give you. Yeah. Is it arc welded on? I mean, is it just totally tacked on?
It's actually good. It was made by a separate team, Digital Extremes, and it's solid. Here's what our reviewer said, Jake Askill, is that he's not very good at multiplayer, and he was good at this. And so kind of similar to Uncharted 2, which I really gravitated towards because I really suck at Call of Duty.
Right.
It's kind of this fun, different multiplayer. But if you are like a Call of Duty type of guy, this is not going to rub your tummy.
But is it the kind of, will it still pet the back of my head months later? Will it still coddle me?
And breathe soothingly on it.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah, that's good.
Is it the kind of thing that people are going to be playing months and months down the road? Or is it's fun for now and then they'll move on to the next multiplayer
Typically, multiplayer like that does not have much of a long value.
Okay. Even with the ability to walk underwater, which was a big deal, it's point A to point B, right? When you're out in the water?
Yeah. If there was one thing that I feel that someone kind of said, oh, I think we should have more underwater in this game. And they're like, well, we can't really have sort of electricity and fire underwater.
No, make it a rail shooter now. That's what the kids like. Quick time events.
It's there. It's not impressive. It's very brief and
okay, so it's not getting in the way.
Yeah, it's not a point of complaint.
Okay, well, it sounds like, obviously, some would say an impossibly high bar to leap over. Sounds like they did a good job. What did X-Play give it?
We give it a 4 out of 5. If you're a fan of the first one, you should be playing it. And even if you weren't, this might actually fill in those gaps that weren't satisfying to you from the first one. But if you didn't like that first one, you have a problem.
We're out of time, but if you want, I can clap twice, and you can tell us. Adam Sessler, everybody, thank you! I'll just clap a whole bunch. Bioshock 2 is in stores now. Thank you again, sir.
No problem.
Always a pleasure.